When he plays in a team with a system that utilizes his strength, Paul Pogba is undoubtedly one of the best players in his position in the entire world. But a big money move followed by an underwhelming stint in Manchester United now makes him leave the club on a free, and his next destination is probably going to be Juventus. But in my opinion, this will be another disappointment, and in this video I will tell you exactly why I think that. And before we start, welcome to HITC Football. My name is Nuri and I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. Let's get right into the video. In 2016, Paul Pogba returned to his former club Manchester United for a fee of more than 100 million euros. It's safe to say that that definitely wasn't worth it, because in a rather underwhelming stint with Manchester United, where he played 6 seasons, only one season he was absolutely world class. But apart from his underwhelming stint, to make matters even worse, Pogba left the club on a free this summer. And like I said, 6 seasons in Manchester, but only one was absolutely world class, and that was the 18-19 season, where he scored 16 times in 47 appearances. He was truly sensational that season, and that was probably the only time when Manchester United fans thought that he was actually worth the transfer fee. And how quickly things can change. The season after, Pogba only played 22 times and scored 1 goal, and in the 2 other seasons he played at Old Trafford, he never managed to play more than 26 league games. And in the 3 seasons after his 18-19 campaign, Pogba only scored 8 goals in 3 years. And I'm not talking about the Premier League only, I'm talking about all competitions. And it's even more painful if you realize that he scored 16 goals in 1 season at Manchester United. But does that make him a mediocre player? Absolutely not, because throughout his career, Pogba consistently showed that if he's played in the right team with the right system, he can be one of world's best. During his time in Italy with Juventus, Pogba became Serie A champions 4 times, and he even reached the Champions League final. And in all of those campaigns, Paul Pogba was absolutely sensational, consistently ending with double figures for goal contributions. And in addition, the 2018 World Cup was the best international tournament that Pogba ever played, as he was one of the best players in the entire competition, as he ran the midfield, helping his country to win the World Cup trophy. And like I said, the 18-19 season, the season just after the World Cup, was truly sensational and stats-wise the best season out of his entire career. But after 3 underwhelming seasons, Pogba is going to leave the club, and reportedly he's very close to rejoining Juventus, and I will tell you exactly why I don't think that that's a good idea. I understand that the whole homecoming thing is very romantic and that he's going back to a place where he was absolutely loved, and for Juventus marketing wise this is an unbelievable move, because you just know when you sign Pogba that you're going to sell a lot of shirts. Your Instagram account is going to be booming, because Paul Pogba, whether you like it or not, is a poster boy, and he just brings in the sponsor deals. But football is not played off the pitch, so let's put all of that aside and look exactly at the sporting perspective for Paul Pogba at the club. It's unrealistic to think that Paul Pogba would fulfill the exact same role as in his first stint with Juventus. And let's take a moment to look back at those successful campaigns from Paul Pogba. The World Cup, his first stint at Juventus, and the 18-19 season at Manchester United. In all of these seasons, Pogba was unbelievable because he could actually utilize his talents. And Pogba's talents definitely lie in the attacking aspect of the game, because when he's relieved of his defensive duties, Pogba will shine for you. Because then, with his unbelievable passing and vision, Pogba can become the engine of the midfield of any team. And in his first stint at Juventus, he had players like Sami Khedira and Arturo Vidal covering for him in defensive midfield. In the 2018 World Cup, N'Golo Kante was that person who took care of defensive midfield for France. And in the 18-19 season, Nemanja Matic was very important in relieving Pogba from his defensive duties. And in the current midfield, is there a player that can do that for Pogba? They obviously have Arturo Melo, who they signed from Barcelona, but he has barely played in the 2 seasons at the club, so I doubt that he's going to be there next season. The club recently signed Manuel Locatelli, who is a great player but more of a number 8 and also a little bit more attacking minded, so he will not be the player that will completely relieve Pogba from his defensive duties. And then there's Dennis Zakaria, who Juventus also got him recently, and okay, he's a little bit more defensive minded than Locatelli, but he also helps out in defense due to his history as a striker. So in the current crop of players at Juventus, there are too many players that will occupy similar spaces, and this will not help Pogba. So only if Juventus get in a proper defensive midfielder, I don't think that this is going to work. And why would Juventus sign another midfielder if they recently signed Locatelli, Dennis Zakaria, and then possibly Pogba? And that's not all. They have Ramsey coming back from loan, they have Adrien Rabiot, they have Weston McKennie, and like I said, Artur Melo. So there's no way they're going to sign another defensive midfielder. This will not be the solution for Pogba, and in my opinion also not for Juventus, because they will just end up with an unbalanced balanced midfield. So let's have a look at some other options that would actually work for Pogba, and also clubs that can actually afford him, because he will not come cheap. Even though he's a free agent, his salary would go through the roof. So let's start off with PSG. Obviously they can afford everybody, so also Pogba. And obviously also Mbappé still has to approve of this deal, since he now apparently runs the club, which makes no sense whatsoever. But actually this option for Pogba and for PSG could be pretty good, because unlike Juventus, PSG actually have a lot of defensive midfielders, and they kind of lack a player of Pogba's qualities that can connect the midfield and the attack. And in this situation, Paul Pogba doesn't have to worry about doing defensive work, because players like Leandro Paredes and Danilo Pereira could relieve him entirely of his defensive duties. And since Marco Verratti is never entirely injury free, Paul Pogba could be the main creator in midfield for PSG. And think about a possible partnership of Neymar, Mbappé and Messi, with Paul Pogba just behind them. And not only that, Paul Pogba would also kind of return home, because obviously he grew up in Paris, so on a personal level this would be also quite a good option. And if you ask me from a sporting perspective, this move makes a lot of sense. And another move that would make a lot of sense is Paul Pogba to Real Madrid. Would Pogba have to do a lot of defensive work? Absolutely not, as long as Casemiro plays there. So there's already one thing off the checklist. Paul Pogba doesn't have to do his defensive duties, and he can only focus on the attacking side of the game. But the only downside would be that Real Madrid just signed Tchouaméni for more than 100 million euros, and I refuse to believe that he would end up sitting on the bench for an entire season. So he will definitely play. And especially after the season that both Modric and Casemiro had, there is no way that they will end up on the bench. So I have a feeling that this summer might be the summer where Kroos will actually leave the club. And in that case, I would predict Real Madrid to play with a double pivot of Casemiro and Tchouaméni, with Modric just in front of them. And I know that Modric just signed a 1-year extension, but he's 36 years of age, and I know that we can't write him off, because every year he just gets better and better. And Real Madrid will play a lot of games, so there will be a lot of rotation in the midfield, so Pogba can definitely come in and do a job. And I predict that Modric will leave Real Madrid after next season, and then Paul Pogba can be the main attacking midfielder for the club. And marketing wise for Real Madrid, after missing out on Mbappé, they still need to get their Galactico signing in, and Paul Pogba could be that man. And like I said before, he will sell a lot of shirts, he will get a lot of brands in, and he will obviously help Real Madrid's Instagram following. It's not like they need a lot of help with their Instagram with more than 120 million followers. Moving on to another club that would actually be able to afford him, but I don't think that this move will go down very well with the Manchester United faithful, because the last club is Manchester City. And do I think that this would be a great move for Pogba? I don't think so, because in Guardiola's system I think that he would just have way too many tasks, and it will just stress him out, and he will not play to his best. But as a box-to-box player, he would definitely add something to Manchester City's midfield. But I don't think that this would be the best option for Pogba. So like I said, I don't think that a transfer to Juventus would be a very good move for Pogba. From Juventus' perspective, I understand why they want to sign him. Apart from the marketing and the shirt sales, signing players on a free has literally become a business model for the club. And still, they would sign a world-class player on a free, yes, with high wages, but still, on a free. But like I said before, the current situation in the Juventus team would not suit Pogba well. So I think that a transfer to Real Madrid or PSG would be way more appealing for Pogba. And out of those two clubs, I think that PSG makes the most sense. He would move back to the city where he spent his youth years, he would play with world-class players, and this system 100% will work for him. And after keeping hold of Mbappé, adding Paul Pogba would be a great move. And it might even help them to make a push for the Champions League. Who am I kidding? That will never happen anyways. But all jokes aside, I think that PSG would be the best option for Paul Pogba. So guys, let me know in the comments down below if you agree with me, if you think that Pogba will make a huge mistake by going to Juventus. Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.